What's up, guys? We're back with another video. We're making breakfast. I've got my coffee ready to go. I'm gonna show you guys how to make a frittata. Okay? I'm gonna show you how to turn all of this into this right here. Beautiful, right? So you guys can kind of put whatever you want in a frittata. That's kind of the beauty of it. It's gonna be like a quiche, if you know what a quiche is, without the pie crust. Okay, so I'm gonna show you everything that I have. What you're gonna need: a meat of your choice, or you don't have to if you want to keep this like vegetarian. It's got eggs in it, so it's not really vegan. I'm using bacon. You could use sausage, leftover whatever meat. You know, really just dig into the fridge, dig into the pantry. I've got onion. We're gonna use half of a pepper, some cherry tomatoes, a little bit of cheese to garnish on top. I like a little spice, so we're gonna use jalapeno as well. Okay, let's get going. All right, guys, so talking about a little bit of the nutrition stuff we've been going over while we're chopping away here. Getting that bacon into some bite-sized pieces, chopping up all of our vegetables nice and small. So we've got a good bit of the rainbow here with this recipe, with everything I'm using. We've got whites from the onion, we've got orange from the pepper, we've got greens from the jalapeno and the spinach, right? And then we've got some reds from the tomato. So you guys can touch into as much of the rainbow, eating the rainbow that we've been talking about, as you like. You can put whatever you want in this recipe. That's what's great about it. You can kind of make it your own. So you can get every color of the rainbow. You can get different flavors going. You can add as many spices as you want. If you don't like it spicy like me, then you don't have to add the jalapeno. Fun fact, this is julienne cut with our jalapeno here. Thank you, Grace, for that little tip. With our spinach, we don't want it to get too small, so I just left it pretty big. Again, if you want to like kind of mask that flavor, you can get it smaller. All right, guys, so while we're waiting on the bacon to get a little crispy, make sure we're moving it around. Make sure we're flipping it over. We have our pan on a medium heat because we don't want it to get completely charred. We don't want it to cook too fast, but we do want it to be hot enough to where it'll crisp it up. And like I said, we're preheating our oven, and we're preheating that to 350 degrees. Did not talk about my eggs. So the eggs, I'm using 7 eggs. You could use more if you want this to be a little bit thicker, if you know what I'm saying. Or you could use less if you want it to be a little thinner and you don't want it to quite make as much. So I've got the eggs over here. I added salt and pepper, and I just whisk those up to have those ready for later. Okay, guys, so this is what we look like. We do not need to be super crispy yet because we're going to keep cooking the bacon as we add everything else. I will mention that I did pour out a little bit of the grease into just like a can because I didn't want that much of the bacon grease going in with everything else to kind of reduce a little bit of the fat. Okay, so we're going to add the onion in here. Once we see a little bit of translucency around the edge of the onions, then we will keep adding everything else. Okay, guys, so I think we're ready with everything else. That's only been in there for probably about a minute with all of that. So I'm going to throw the tomatoes in here last. They're going to get probably only about 15 or 20 seconds because they're going to cook down mostly in the oven. So the next thing that we're going to add is the eggs. Right, the trick here is that you kind of want everything to be incorporated and spread out evenly, because once you pour the egg in, that's kind of where everything is going to stay, right? The egg is going to be like the glue for all of this deliciousness. Okay, so I've kind of got everything where I want it. I'm going to pour the egg over. Turn down the temp just a little bit. Now we're at like a low medium. I'm going to pour the egg evenly over everything. Okay. Now we want to let that cook for a little bit. We want to get a little bit of a bottom to the eggs where you can kind of feel like it's a little bit firm. The pan was pretty hot, so it probably won't take long, only maybe about a minute and a half. While that's happening, we can add the spinach on top. Kind of let that get worked in on the top. If you guys like your spinach a little bit more wilty, you could add this in right when we did the tomatoes. Maybe before the tomatoes. Okay, I'm gonna work that in just a little bit so it's not completely sitting on top, so it's worked in there. Yeah, and as you see, like some of this, like part of the sides kind of getting stiff, kind of getting some structure to them. That means you're about ready to go in the oven. Okay, so right before we go in the oven, in our 350-degree oven, you can put your cheese on top. I'm just using like a Mexican blend cheese. You could use cheddar, you could use whatever you want. I'm using about 3/4 to a cup here. This is just for flavor, so that's why we put it on top. So it doesn't completely melt before we actually cook. Okay, good. And now we go into the oven. All right, and we're gonna go into the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but probably right around 12. Okay, so we'll check back in. Okay guys, it's been about 10, 11, 12 minutes. Okay, so let's check on it, see what we look like. I do believe we are looking pretty good. Right, so you can kind of see how like the edges have like formed a solid, like an omelet would look like. The middle, when you poke at it, it's pretty firm. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so we're gonna kind of use the spatula to make sure it's not stuck anywhere. And we're just gonna slide this bad boy out. Easy. Look at that. It's beautiful. And there you go.